there are laws in place, there are rules in place, but the implementation has had a beating. Hi, my name is George Abraham. I am the CEO of SCORE Foundation. We run Project Eyeway. We've had a great year in 2024. A number of blind and visually impaired people have connected with us. We have gone out, reached out to people. There are a few issues that we'd like to bracket here. Number one, people who implement the laws don't seem to be aware of the laws. Recently, we had encountered a case of a young man who comes from a very poor family. He got a job in a bank, a well-known bank, and as an officer. And the amazing thing is that when he wanted to open a salary account, the bank said that you are blind and therefore we cannot open a salary account. So he's okay to be employed as a professional, but the bank thinks he's too blind to have a bank account. And the fact of the matter is the RBI is very, very clear. The Reserve Bank of India is very, very clear that no blind and visually impaired person can be refused a bank account on the basis of his blindness. He should be allowed to operate all services of the bank. Likewise, another ironic situation was that a young blind person who aspired to do his post-graduation degree and get into the digital space, he is empowered to use the computer using screen reading software. He's undergone formal training, and he was writing a certification exam in the state of Maharashtra. And the irony is that they refused to allow him to write the exam independently using a screen reading software. They asked him to use a scribe, and this is really disappointing. We are moving into a digital India, and I believe the digital infrastructure needs to be geared to allow blind and visually impaired people, whether it's students writing their board exams, whether it is people writing qualification exams for technical certification, or whether if it is writing the UPSC exams. I think blind people, we are into a digital era. India is going digital. All people need to have access to use digital facilities. A third point I'd like to highlight is that we've been getting a lot of calls regarding the UDID card. Now, UDID card is the disability certification for blind and visually impaired people and all disabled people. Most blind people go to a cyber cafe to have their forms filled in. For two reasons. One, they may not be having computer facilities or internet facilities at home, or because the Swavalamban the website where UDID card has to be registered is not fully accessible. Sighted help is required. So they go to a cyber cafe. The cyber cafe people, most of them are semi-literate people. The information that is keyed in to the application form is very often, more often than not, in fact, compromised. And the sighted cyber cafe operators do not really think it's necessary for them to verify the facts that have been keyed in with the blind client who is there to do the application. And as a result, when the blind person goes to verify his documents at the CMO's office, the documents don't match. Very often the spelling of the candidate's name varies in the certificate as well as in the application, or the father's name, there is a change in spelling. There are problems with date of births. These are all errors which have been made while the application was being filed in at the cyber cafe. And I believe the government needs to recognize this challenge and be more compassionate, because changing an application once it is keyed in is real difficult. There's a very, very ironic case where a gentleman from Badoi had a disability certificate. He had his UDID card. He came to Delhi to apply and claim a smartphone from Alimco. And when his UDID card was examined, instead of being certified as a blind person, and this chap is obviously very blind, instead of being certified as a blind person, he has been certified as a deaf and mute person. Now, how can this kind of an error be in the system? And and now if this boy wants to change the application, change the UDID card, he will have to run from pillar to post. So I think it's critical that people in the system are aware of the rules and should be equipped to implement those rules. Secondly, I think we need to take into focus that we are moving into a digital era. Blind and visually impaired people also need to be accommodated and geared to become part of the digital world. And I think when it comes to UDID card and other applications, I think the government and the administrative bodies need to be more compassionate and understanding, so that the processes of corrections and modifications should be made easy. So I think this is my wish for the new year, that the infrastructure and the systems, the policies and the implementation becomes more blind friendly. Happy New Year.